The Pahalgam attack, a meadow soaked in blood. Tourism was blossoming and hope was in the air, and then the jihadi terror struck, like a vulture swooping down on peace. In the serene Baisaran meadow near Pahalgam, where ponies strayed and laughter echoes, death came at 2:30 p.m., armed, trained, and bloodthirsty. 4 to 6 terrorists stormed down from forests and opened fire. No warning, no mercy. Children were crying and tourists were screaming and bodies kept falling. We heard gunshots, they said, and everyone started running. People were falling, children were crying. We just kept moving, not looking back. This wasn't random, it was a message, a slaughter, a surgical execution of civilians, specifically Hindus. The terrorists were asking for IDs, checking the names, and when unsure, made the men pull down their pants. If uncircumcised, they were shot. Manjunath from Karnataka was killed. His wife Pallavi begged to die too. They refused. They said, "You need to live." To tell this to Modi. This was not just terrorism, this is jihad, genocidal, targeted, and calibrated. 26 dead, dozens wounded, 2 foreigners, an Israeli and an Italian among the slain. Emergency rooms from Pahalgam to Srinagar are flooded with bloodied victims. Ponies became ambulances. Hills became war zones. And Resistance Force, a Lashkar-e-Toiba offshoot, has taken responsibility. But you see, the trail is very clear, isn't it? ISI, Pakistan, and now maybe possibly China. For weeks, Pakistan's military chief, Asif Ghani, had been barking provocations. His Balochistan blunder, a hijacked train, and a blown up military bus exposed his failures. So he barked louder, blamed India, threatened war, declared Kashmir as the jugular vein of Pakistan. This massacre was the reply from Munir to India in his own mindset. A jihadi dog whistle blown from Rawalpindi's barracks. But there's more. J.D. Vance, the US Vice President, is on the Indian soil. Just like when Trump visited, the 2020 Delhi riots happened. Is it coincidence or is it message? China, watching India's rise and its US trade realignment, is furious. Akshay Chin is in the crosshairs, you see. And the truth that Kashmir is India's, always was and always will be, rattles both Beijing and Islamabad. So there are two messages in this one attack. One from Pakistan: you back Balochistan and we bleed your terrorists. From China: you do trade deals at our expense, then be prepared for disruption. And where is the West's powerful intelligence network here? America's NSA, Britain's MI6, all with ears deep inside Pakistan, and yet the attack happened. Just like Pulwama and just like 2611. There is something awfully wrong with the West's intelligence. Somebody will need to figure that out. They always fail where it matters most for India. Why? PM Modi has cut short his Saudi trip. The Crown Prince MBS has promised all help. So has America and Russia. And Amit Shah is in Srinagar, furious, armed with options. Not just another strike. This is different, bigger. The retaliation will not be limited to Pakistan. It will be a message to China, a warning to Bangladesh, and a signal to the world that India will not bleed quietly. Pakistan's Air Force is on alert. Borders are bristling, but it may not matter. Because this time, when the iron rains from the sky, it won't stop at retaliation. It will redefine deterrence. And America must decide, will it finally pull the plug on Pakistan's nukes? Because the next 72 hours may redraw maps and end myths. And finally, we also need to remember that the massacre in J&K wasn't just a failure of governance, it was a bitter fruit of judicial overreach. The Indian Supreme Court, unelected, unaccountable, and disconnected from the bloodied soil of Kashmir, forced the elections at a time when the boots on the ground were crying caution. And now what do we have? Cremations. Let's be blunt. This wasn't just a miscalculation on Supreme Court's behalf. It was an abuse of power, wrapped in legalese and sanctified by robes that have forgotten their limits. India was never meant to be ruled by as a dicastocracy, the tyranny of the judges. But when the courts overstep, meddle in executive strategy, and impose their will on volatile terrains they neither understand nor own, they don't just violate the constitution, they cost lives. And so in this case, they must share the blame equally. And more importantly, remember that the truth will be hunted. So we must be its guardians. They came with their guns, they killed with questions. Are you Hindu? And if the answer was yes, they executed. But now the second attack begins. The jihadis have fired their bullets. Their ecosystem will fire narratives. Already the media stooges are gearing up. The spin machines are churning. Articles will appear with sanitized headlines. Phrases like militants, insurgents, unknown assailants will be paraded like euphemisms at the funeral of the truth. They'll hide the IDs, they'll blur the pant checks, they'll erase the names of the dead if they are Hindu. Because the facts are inconvenient and truth is treason. When the masters sit in Rawalpindi, Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif has already set the tone. His lies weren't just deflection, they were marching orders. His script is now being read out in the Indian newsrooms, echoed by Western think tanks, and amplified by global human rights frauds. But we should not let it pass. This was an anti Hindu terror. This was religious cleansing. This was jihadi genocide, premeditated and proudly executed. No amount of a narrative laundering can whitewash this truth. Not this time. Falsehood may ride 1,000 narratives, but truth walks in just once and ends the masquerade. We will be that truth. We will speak it until it roars.